Yes, hello everyone and welcome to all our West Australian football fans to another edition of Around the WAFL, a slightly shortened version today as we look ahead to round 10. 3 games coming up as part of the weekend in football. 1 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and of course we'll preview them all for you today here on Around the WAFL. Paul Persick along.
Great to be back, Paul, and that doesn't mean the circumstances changed nonetheless.
No doubt about it, of course. 3 big games. We're going to preview them all for you right now here today. But first of all, here's how you can win big at the WAFL this season.
Punt from 50, win. Little too into the game, win. Too cocky, almost a win. Risking it all for the glory, win. It's win-win at the WAFL. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at waffle.com.au.
Yes, win-win at the WAFL for 2024. There has been a lot in the first half of the season, but there'll be more in the second half of the season as round 10 rolls on. Well, East Perth, they are the talk of the town. They are standing alone atop the ladder following their exciting win at this past Monday over West Perth and one of the best Perth derbies in recent times. And now they gear up for a big game against the rejuvenated Claremont side this Sunday afternoon at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. And joining us now is their Premier Ruckman, the big Scott Jones. He's joining us here on Around the WAFL today. Scotty, welcome to the show, mate, and congrats on the big win on Monday.
Thanks, guys. It was really actually a good game and glad to be a part of it.
What about the pressure that was placed upon both sides, especially the Royals after what was a really tight third term? It was going to go down to the wire on Monday, and it certainly did just that. But what was the message at three-quarter time by Ross McQueen on that game?
Basically, we've got to absorb what they're throwing here and back to our plan and going in and just footy, because we knew that the pressure that line was immense, but we were pretty happy with how able to get the ball through. We just needed to persist and basically keep.
Your battle in the ruck was fascinating with Brock Carter. Obviously, Brock's come over from South Australia. Both had 32 hit-outs each. How did you find that battle in the ruck with him?
Yeah, it was really good. Like always, there are different guys coming in, and a challenge is always the best of rucking, in my opinion. So yeah, it took me got a couple of jumps on me early and things like that. But yeah, I was happy to sort of get a fair use and figure him out at the end. So I look forward to battles in the future.
Your midfield complemented you very, very well. Crowden, Brayshaw and co. And Angus Scott really stood up to the plate on Monday.
Yeah, they've been outstanding. Yeah, it sort of makes my life a bit easier, and those guys can make my hard work a little bit more pretty. So, but they've been really good, and especially working. Whether it's one guy has a big game one week, another one will step up the following week.
And coming up against Claremont this week, they've come off an impressive win against the other ladder leaders from the weekend in Peel. I'm sure you'll take more of a look at them later in the week as the game comes closer. But keys to stopping the Tigers as they're on a bit of a rampage?
Yeah, I think it's just our footy has been very solid of late, and we just need to continue on. Claremont's a team that if you give them a quarter, they'll put you away, basically. So if we can come out and have 4 quarters of sort of solid intent and so on, then I think we'll match it up with them.
Fingers crossed as well that Angus Schumacher comes back as well, because obviously he missed the Perth Derby due to work commitments. Do you think he's going to come back? And if he does, that's going to be a massive, massive boost to an already strong Royals midfield.
Yeah, sure. He should be able to be sliding straight back in, basically. He's been on really good form of late. But that's the sort of dynamic that we've got at the moment. The guys come and play their role, and if guys go out and sort of chop and change. Like we had 4 changes going into yesterday. And then we'll still able to get done.
But those changes really work wonders still, that your depth in that midfield rotation, especially led by the likes of yourself, Hammer, Crowden, Schumacher, who's coming back, and company, really gets the job done, and they certainly did that against West Perth on Monday. We really appreciate your time, Scotty. Great work in the ruck as always. You're having a great season, and all the best for this Sunday afternoon against Claremont.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That was Scotty Jones, the East Perth dominant ruckman. He's good enough to join us here today on Around the WAFL. That's going to be billed as a massive game, I would think, because, you know, the pressure's going to be on. They last met in the elimination final last year. Claremont won a tense encounter. Expect that one to be an absolute beauty, and expect Scotty Jones to be right in the thick of it.
Yeah, it's good that he's back. You know, I know he was in the state squad, but didn't play. Had a bit of some niggles. So I think from his point of view, he'll be happy to be fit and healthy, build some continuity. And you're right. I mean, they've built a little bit of a rivalry in recent years, the Tigers and the Royals in finals and in close encounters there. So expect this one to be no different.
No doubt about it. It's going to be a great game. We'll preview that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But first, you can check out some good merch here. Introducing the WAFL Merch Shop, your ultimate destination for all things WAFL. From jerseys to scarves to caps, show your support for the WAFL in style. Grab exclusive merchandise now and gear up to cheer louder than ever before. Visit shop.wafl.com.au today and let your passion shine. Okay, let's get to the games. We've got another morning match, this time on Saturday, 10 o'clock at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. Subiaco taking on the West Coast Eagles. This one now has gotten pretty interesting. The Eagles on a bit of a run, Subiaco pretty much on the flat line. This one could mark as another statement for the Eagles, but Subiaco, you can't keep them down for long.
You can't, and I think the Eagles like the morning matches, don't they?
Yeah.
And I mean, Subiaco have had the wood over them over the last 5 times they've met, but yeah, I mean, they've only won once, I believe, the Eagles
Only once
over the line. So I don't know if history will count much for that. But the morning match, as you said, and Subiaco, I mean, we said on Tuesday that they're done, and if they don't win this one, then they're buried.
Proper done. You know, put a tombstone on their season, safe to say.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they'll be up for the challenge, though. You know, they'll be inspired, I guess, that the fact that they're coming up against a team that's more competitive in recent weeks. They know that they can't take them lightly, and they know that if you don't win this, well, it's real trouble.
Well, especially now that we said on Tuesday that Subiaco were just lacking that necessary leg speed. They've got a lot of big bodies and a lot of experienced players in there. But I think the bringing in of a couple of good young players could really give Subiaco an extra spring against an Eagles side that are starting to really gel under the vision of Kyle Horsley.
Yeah, and they've got young players, Subiaco, guys like Jacob Everett, who just continues to hit the score, but young players in that midfield who are just really sort of taking that next step forward. You know, even guys like Galen Savini, who's become a bit of a swingman in recent weeks, gathered some momentum for the mid-season draft. But yeah, who are the guys in the midfield? I know Foley's in there, but I guess these players are similar. They're big bodies. They do the grunt work. They get the ball, but who are the guys with that overlap speed that is so crucial?
Yeah, and that's what's going to be, I reckon, in West Coast favour, especially when you've got the likes of Hall, Cully, Zane True, who had a great outing in recent times that led him to an AFL spot in the game against St Kilda. Maybe another week in WAFL for True to help him gain full confidence because, you know, he's a bit 50-50 in that game against St Kilda on Saturday afternoon. But I reckon the Eagles are a chance. I reckon they could make another big statement. I'm not going to look like a fool a second time because I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going with the Eagles to win. I never thought I'd do this in my lifetime, but I'm saying the Eagles to beat Subiaco.
And you're not alone, Paul.
Oh, you're going the Eagles as well.
Yeah, hopefully it proves wonders for me just as much as it did on the weekend.
Oh, unbelievable. But no, they are a genuine chance. I reckon they can claim another big scalp here. And imagine if the results go their way, they could possibly be in the 5.
Unheard of.
It's unbelievable. West Coast haven't been in the 5 since, good golly, 2019
maybe?
When they beat West Perth in an elimination final. My golly,
long time ago.
Oh, it certainly is. I don't think I had a lot of hair back then. My golly, but no, it's going to be a great game over at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. That one is going to be anticipated as a beauty, and just quietly, the morning matches could suit the Eagles, but expect this one to be an absolute cliffhanger. The Lions and the Eagles at Sullivan Logistics Stadium on Saturday morning. Now we get to the 2 big matches on Sunday afternoon, starting off at Sullivan Logistics Stadium at 2:10. You can check this one out on Channel 7 as well as the AFL app. It is Sullivan Logistics Stadium playing host to East Perth and Claremont. Third straight encounter between these two teams. Of course, East Perth won round 14, and also, of course, Claremont won the elimination final last year. Bit of a rivalry between these two, as you said. But I reckon Claremont, they are going to be right up for the challenge. You know, after getting a big statement win against Peel Thunder, where are they going to be? That's the question. Are they going to be the same side that towered up the Thunder, or are they going back to square one?
Bit of revenge on the line for the Royals. They'll have that elimination final in the back of their minds from last year when they went down by 12 points. But Claremont, they're just so unpredictable. You genuinely can't get a sense of which Claremont side is going to rock up. East Perth, more reliable at this stage of the year. They deserve to go into this one as favourites, but Claremont, I mean, if their best team shows up, they'll push the Royals really close.
They need their best team to show up. It's such a critical stage in the season when, the competition is incredibly open, and wins are becoming ever more important now. Especially, when you've got a couple of good young players that are really stepping up. Kieran Gowdy, place him at full forward. He's going to kick a big bag of goals, but he's going to face a big test in the form of that Royals back line that really put extra pressure on West Perth's forwards this past Monday in the WA Day Derby. And you have Scotty Jones in the ruck against Oliver Eastland. What a matchup that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty Jones will be looking to, sounds stupid, but show why he should have been picked ahead of Ollie Eastland in that state team going back.
I'll say so, maybe.
But nonetheless, it's a crucial battle, and both will be have their hands full, but both will be sort of, against each other's... They'll be using each other to their strengths as well.
And it's going to be an even matchup in the ruck and in midfield because both midfields complement each other so well.
They do. Yeah, they'll match up really well. And East Perth, Eastland probably more of a follow-up ruckman around the ground. Jones more of that, traditional tap ruck. So they'll be stretched in both departments on that sense.
Well,
but
Jones' follow-up work was actually pretty good on Monday against West Perth. Maybe not as much as Ollie Eastland in the ruck, but I reckon if he can up in his follow-up work in the ruck against Eastland, that could make such a big difference on Sunday.
Maybe kick some goals on each other, let each other know
I'd
about
see them
it.
kick a couple of goals, give each other a little bit of heaps.
But going back to what you said about the back line for East Perth, I think McCready's really coming into his own as well.
Swingman.
Obviously, it's probably taken a while for him to come into his own. I know, he spent some time on Carlton's list, so he has that experience, and he's, I guess, that big name. And even guys like Corey Watts are really starting to dash off half back and show the depth in the back line that the East Perth internally that they know about. But I guess we're starting to see it from an outside point of view as well.
Could we see it's a great effect against Claremont? Because, they've had a couple of close encounters. Claremont, where are they at? Are they going to be back to that powerhouse side that we've known for the past couple of decades? Or are we going to see East Perth completely sweep the floor with the Tigers, which some even could widely predict? That's a possibility because East Perth's depth complement each other so well at both ends of the ground. And up forward as well, you have the likes of Liam Tedesco, who's a viable option, Sam Van Diemen. He was brilliant, usually up forward, but he played a bit of midfield as well and saw plenty of the footy.
Good to see him back as well. It's I'm tempted to tip Claremont. The temptation is really there because we know how good they can be. But I think I'm going to lean towards the Royals.
You're going to go the Royals. I'm going the Royals as well, but I don't think this one's going to be a one-sider. I reckon this one might go down to the wire. East Perth, they've had their fair share of close contests, and I reckon they'll have another one.
Yeah, well, East Perth can't win every game. I know they're, some have them as the premiership favourites at this stage, but we know in this competition you're not going to win every single game. It's not like the Subiaco of a few years ago where they were just unbeatable.
Yeah,
so
undefeated in 2018.
So I think the landscape has changed a lot since then. But you'd expect them to go into this one as favourites and come away with a victory, albeit in a tight tussle.
It's going to be a pearler, make no mistake about that. It'll be on Channel 7 and on the AFL app. Sullivan Logistics Stadium playing host to the Royals and the Tigers. It'll be a great battle. And so will this one. 5th place on the line between East Fremantle, the reigning premiers, and West Perth. They've had their fair share of close encounters as well, these two teams. Of course, round 5 last year over at the WACA, the second semi-final a couple of years ago, and also round 8 at the WACA a couple of years ago as well. So they've had their tight tussles, but this one puts added pressure, I would say, on the reigning premiers because they've been up and down in their premiership defence. Is there something missing? Same can be said for West Perth. Are they still stranding themselves in the middle of the pack? We're going to find out all those questions on Sunday afternoon at 2:30 from Fremantle Oval.
We will. It's going to be a brilliant game to look forward to. East Fremantle, back at Fremantle Oval and West Perth. Both teams are going to be super hungry to win this game. We know it's so hard to win a premiership outside of the top 3.
Absolutely.
These teams, can they make finals? Maybe.
Well, I think anyone this year, I think anyone in the 5 can win it. Anyone that finishes in the 5, that can win it. Yeah. I reckon it's completely open.
But I think from a top 3 point of view, your chances are boosted significantly. So I think the winner of this game needs to, well, obviously, they'll be both wanting to win, but I think this game is probably we're going to learn a lot. I think come the end of Sunday late afternoon. One thing
I was surprised from a West Perth point of view, and I think this is something we didn't address on Tuesday. Noah Pecoraro didn't play, and he didn't play in the reserves either. So I reckon but he's had trouble with his hamstring as well. So there's going to be a lot of questions about him, and also a lot of these players have played more than 10 games. So there's been a lot of experience. Some of the younger players have played more than 10 games in the West Perth backline, and they're going to face a big challenge against what is a potent East Fremantle forward line. You've got Cody Leggett, who's in form. Blaine Boakhurst, ever since he's returning, he's on a rampage. John O'Marsh, that sense of intimidation. So the backline is going to face a big test.
They will, especially with how fierce you'd expect the Sharks to come out from the get-go, considering, I guess, the Blues that they had in the Fremantle Derby and how just off the pace they were from the start.
And what about the battle between Nelson and Murdoch? How good is that one going to be?
Two similar players, two smaller midfielders as well. I think
got good leg speed.
Murdoch has probably come up against some bigger midfielders in this year, and so Nelson is have leather poisoning, 44 disposals, as does Murdoch each week. So yeah, that'll be pivotal.
I think it's a chronic case of leather poisoning when you have a look at it. Who gets more leather poisoning in this match? Will it be Murdoch or will it be Nelson? Will we need the ambulance? But in all seriousness, that matchup is going to be incredible, and they've got backup to complement as well. You know, with Nelson, they've got the likes of Black and Meadows, who had much better games on Monday, and then East Fremantle, they've got the likes of Blackiston in the ruck, who I reckon is touted as that next big ruckman for the rest of the season. He had a great game despite the loss to South Fremantle, and also Brock Carter gave Scott Jones a bit of a test in the ruck as well on Monday.
Yeah, as we said, 32 hit-outs apiece, so that was an even display and just gives first use to the guys in that midfield. As you said, even Kane Bevan, 28 disposals last, but these young players, the more games they're playing at WAFL level, the better off they're becoming. I know obviously they didn't win on the weekend, but the more the games they get into these guys like Damati, Skender, all these guys, they're going to quickly find themselves over, double figures in games played, and that's going to hold them in good stead because they're not having to rely on these other guys like Nelson, who are still, performing strongly.
Yeah, of course. It's going to be very interesting to see how both of them will perform on Sunday afternoon. It's a genuinely hard one to pick because both sides are hungry. Both sides need a win. They're both evenly matched. They're going to have one or two players coming back, which will boost their sides. But who's going to emerge the better? Who's going to be the more disciplined? Who's going to be the more accurate in front of goal? Because both sides have had their yips in front of goal, more so West Perth. Genuinely, I can't pick a winner.
I can't pick a winner as well. I mean, you can make a case for both sides, can't you? I'll back the Sharks. I mean, I haven't really tipped an up. The West Coast game's probably an upset earlier on the show, but I'll stick with the Sharks. Yeah. Mike, your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, your guess is as good as mine as well, mate. It's an absolutely tough game to pick. I'm going to back the Sharks as well, but only just. But if West Perth can get the job done, that'll be a big statement as well. But East Fremantle, Fremantle Oval, they've had a mixed bag. Home away from home, so to speak. They've had a mixed bag over there this season, but I reckon they can get the job done because the pressure is more on them.
It is, yeah. I mean, yeah, pressure on both sides, but the reigning premiers as well. That title, it does hold significance, doesn't it, in the latter stages?
No doubt about it. What a game it's going to be. 2:30 on Sunday. East Fremantle doing battle with West Perth. Fifth place is at stake.
Punt from 50, win. Little too into the game, win. Too cocky, almost a win. Risking it all for the glory, win. It's win-win at the WAFL. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at wafl.com.au.
Now, we're closing in on wrapping up today's abbreviated edition of Around the WAFL, Ethan, but I want to get your thoughts on some of the big risers and the big fallers of season 2024. We'll start off with the biggest risers, Ethan. Who do you think has risen up the biggest in 2024?
I think it goes without saying the first team that jumps off the page is South Fremantle. They've obviously didn't make finals last year, a bit of a rebuilding phase, but as we've said in the past, they're not down for long, and they could be a real contender. So they've been the bigger risers.
They certainly have been. I mean, when you look at the players that they've brought in, Isaiah Winder has got a lifeline over there at the Bulldogs, looking to get back into AFL level. He's got that desire, he's got that drive. The return of Hayden Schleut as well, the king of South Fremantle in the modern WAFL. He's brought, again, great value to the Bulldogs side. He's been incredible. Josh Branke in the ruck. Dylan Main just continues to shine up forward. He's been incredible. I'd add Swan Districts in there.
Oh, yeah.
I would add Swan Districts in there. Even though they're 4 from 4, their record's even. But just the way they've been able to grind out these close games when they struggled to last year, that's a testament of their character that they've instilled under Andrew Prune.
They have, and there was probably some pressure on him in recent years, but he's sort of making those critics go silent a bit. It's credit to him as well. And I guess in recent weeks, maybe not to the level over the course of the whole season to date, but even the Eagles have been a bit of a rise in recent years, which is it's great for the competition.
It
The
is.
way that they're rallying around each other. Even watching them sing the song after the game in the Northern Rooms, they're pumped. The Gatorade's going everywhere between
especially for Hutchinson.
For Hutchinson as well. So, yeah, the Eagles they look like they're on the rebuild already.
And it's good for the competition, as you said as well. It goes to show that the Eagles do have a place in the WAFL. The long-term future of the competition. As far as the fallers are concerned, I've got 3 teams: Subiaco, Claremont, and East Fremantle. Call me crazy why East Fremantle. They're still in the 5, but they just haven't been to that place where they expected to be when you look at it. They've lost a couple of winnable games, and including a couple of results that maybe they should have penciled in for a win, including that round 3 game against West Coast.
Yeah, and if they're wanting to be a dynasty, they really need to lift their game. Obviously we know how tough flags are to win, but they'd hate to just win one and that be it. So, yeah, Subiaco, the big fallers for me after reaching a preliminary final last year. But I think the Zach Clark impact, I think we knew it was going to come. How would they replace him? But it's just been, felt even more probably than we thought.
Absolutely. And Claremont as well, I'd say, while they've been up and down, their fall from the ladder I think has been down to just the lack of polish in their game, but also discipline as well. There's been a few moments where the ill discipline has got the better of them. Yeah,
inconsistency as well, just not knowing which Claremont side will rock up. And yeah, they're a bit mediocre at the moment, but I'm sure they can. I've no doubt they can make a position towards the 5. It's just whether the difference between making the 5, making up the numbers, and being a genuine contender.
Absolutely, and given how open the competition is, that sort of categories, could really fall by the wayside if any one of 5 or 6 teams, have a chance of making the finals. It's going to be incredibly interesting. Listeners and fans, let us know who you think has been the biggest risers and the biggest fallers so far of the 2024 WAFL season. You can let us know in the comments below on YouTube or on our socials as well on where you get your podcasts. This is Around the WAFL, and you can check out how good the WAFL merch store is. Introducing the WAFL Merch Shop, your ultimate destination for all things WAFL. From jerseys to scarves to caps, show your support for the WAFL in style. Grab exclusive merchandise now and gear up to cheer louder than ever before. Visit shop.wafl.com.au today and let your passion shine. And that wraps up today's edition of Around the WAFL. Round 10, 3 big games, Ethan. Looking forward to them all.
All right, mate. See you then.
See you then, Ethan. I'll see you on Tuesday as well to recap the round and look forward to round 11.
Catch you there, mate.
And listeners and fans, we'll see you on Tuesday as well to recap round 10. It'll be a big round of football, and also next week to look ahead to round 11. You can catch us on our socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on YouTube and where you get your podcasts. We'll see you for the big round 10 review on Tuesday.